together. Back then our world seemed so clear. We grew so bright, shimmering lights around us. We take flight into the sky. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. You will see. You will see. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. Take my hand, I'll lead you on into the stars. We'll ride away from all the wars, close the doors and disappear again. And I don't know how many times I've said that this is not the end, and we will make it out of here alive. Oh, alive. Alive. Oh, alive. Alive. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. You will see. You will see. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. How many worlds would you cross to use the light that's right in front of you? There is no light on the other side. I say, look straight ahead and you will see. You will see.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between or otherwise, welcome back to the ARC Indycar iRacing series. We are coming to you live from Phoenix International Raceway for week 10 out of 12 of this season 5. Once again, Keegan Scott and Will Weisbrot III bringing you all the action today. Will, how was your day today?
My day was fantastic. Spent plenty of time around race cars and cannot complain. How about yours, man?
I've had a bit of an okay day. I work IT, so I mean, you can only have such good of a day when you're just resetting passwords all day long. But yeah, that's about how that goes. But I think we actually just got done with qualifying here, and we're getting ready to grid up. But quick little background session here about what we're talking about for Phoenix tonight. So this is our first time on the modern Phoenix track. And Will, you said you haven't ever run this place before?
No, I've only run the Legacy version, which I actually quite enjoy. It's up there in my top 2 ovals in this car, the other being Michigan, which we ran just 2 weeks ago, I believe. So I'm very interested to see how this car handles around this, like you said, modern version of Phoenix. So it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, we have run previous races on the Legacy version, though. That was in season 1 and 2. Rick Raven and Andrew Surowick were the winners of those. Rick is not racing tonight. I don't think he races with the series anymore. But Andrew Surowick, otherwise known as MLG God, will be joining us on the track tonight.
Yeah, and MLG God coming off, I think he podiumed last week at Watkins Glen, I believe, and obviously the week prior at Michigan International Speedway, his home track. I got to say it because I know he loves it. He came away with the huge W there in that beautiful Gatorade machine. So I'm sure he's looking to capitalize again on another oval. I know that the ovals are definitely his strong suit. He is competitive on road courses, but he considers himself the oval alien of this league. So he is going to be disappointed with anything but a win here tonight, I think, especially trying to chase down Damon Mccourt in the championship point standings.
Well, that's a good way to start the night off. Pole position provisional for Andrew Surowick with an 18.924. First person to get under that 19-second barrier. Big qual lap for him. And he was complaining in practice about how, he couldn't really get up below the 19-second threshold on the qualifying setup. But you know what? He pulled it off at a clutch time.
Yeah, and pretty incredible to see him get the pole there. I wasn't listening in like you were during practice, but it's always nice to kind of have a surprising, I guess, qualifying performance, especially when you're struggling in practice a bit. Speaking from my experience, and I hope this doesn't happen to him, but I ran in one of my IndyCar leagues last night. First time actually qualifying well, and I set an unofficial track record at Nashville and ended up binning it on the 3rd lap. So I hope Andrew doesn't fall to that same fate, but I know he'll be happy to start up there.
So, Will, I know you're new to being in the booth for esports, but we have this thing called the caster curse, and it is now in effect as Andrew, when you're going back and watching this, I apologize for the fact that Will just caster cursed you. So when you wreck on lap 3, blame it on him.
I don't. All I'm saying, man, is round 8 at Michigan. I was hyping him up the whole time, and he had a couple incidents that he fell back in the field from, but he came back to win the dang thing. So I've got full confidence tonight in Andrew Surowick starting up on the inside of the front row, under the lights. What's not to love here? We go over our starting grid here. Again, Andrew Surowick starting in pole position here at Phoenix. Tanner Long on his outside, followed by Jake Jackson, James Williamson, and Daniel Taskey to round out that top 5.
David Mccourt is starting in P6. He's going to have a little bit of ground to make up. He has a decent lead right now, but that lead can shrink really quickly in these last couple weeks. He's followed by Mark Feeney in P7, Liam Mcneil in P8, Brock Whiteman in P9, and Craig Bray round out the top 10.
Now, to the back half of the field, we got Eric Oliva starting P11. This guy has been competitive nonstop the last several weeks in the Apollo Racing Club iRacing IndyCar Series. Be on the lookout for this guy. I think he's going to be a big mover tonight, but he's followed up by Cody Barrett in the 007, Joseph DuPont, Mark Harrison, and Dan Skilton, and that's your top 15.
Yeah, a couple guys in the back part of the field that you're going to have to keep an eye on. Eric Oliva and Joseph DuPont. DuPont is always competitive here in the Apollo Racing Club IndyCar Series. And then you have Eric Oliva, who I'm actually racing with him in the Bathurst 12th this upcoming weekend. So
best of luck to the both of you.
Thank you very much. He is a very talented IndyCar driver, especially on the ovals. He's always threatening there.
Definitely. So a little bit more background about tonight's race. We got a 95-lap race here at Phoenix. Fuel window's about 54 to 64, 65 laps, kind of depending how cautions go, fuel save if you're in the draft and whatnot. Typical oval stuff. Race pace is going to be a little bit slower than quali, of course, not too much. That draft is really going to help. But there is going to be a lot of tire wear. So hopefully these guys can keep their noses clean, stay off of the gearbox of the guy in front, stay out of that wall, and race cleanly here tonight. We should see a good race coming up ahead.
Well, we're coming out of 4, and Andrew takes him to the green flag. We are green, green, green here at Phoenix International Raceway, and already Andrew out to a big jump. I'm expecting it to be a little bit more competitive here at Phoenix, considering we have a lot of multi-groove racing. The draft doesn't quite come into as much of an effect here due to the fact that you don't have a ton of high banking, and it's such a short track.
Yeah, the fact that it's such a short track makes it very difficult compared to some of the other speedways and super speedways we run here at ARC, because you get a lot of dirty air. For those of you that are newcomers, again, I like to explain the technical side of things. Given that I work with these cars in real life, maybe a little bit, and the big thing here is dirty air.
Right.
These aero packages give off a bunch of turbulent air to the cars behind, which produces a lot of understeer. So if you're closely following someone, you better watch out for that bright blue wall. You can't miss it, but you got to stay out of it.
And you can see here that they are ripping that bottom line and moving high as well when they need to make passes. Damon Mccourt already on the move, picking up a spot early on that floor. So those of you who are used to the Legacy Phoenix, which I feel as though, honestly, more people are probably used to Legacy Phoenix than they are the modern version. Yeah, turns 1 and 2 are now turns 3 and 4, and that dog leg presents a bit of an issue for these guys, especially when we have it closed off like we do tonight. That kind of allows for a little bit of leeway on the backstretch if you don't exactly get a good run out of 4. We do have our first caution of the day. I'm not sure who that is. That looks like it was Joseph DuPont and Mark Harrison getting tangled up.
Man, and it's just like, it's so unfortunate. Here we see the replay, but Joseph DuPont, just a rough several weeks. And it looks like Liam Mcneil just gets a little bit loose. And whoever's in that Tim Hortons car close behind does the same, and they collect 2 others along with him.
Yeah, that's 4 going out the way of not necessarily the way of the dodo, but just not. Oh, that's so unfortunate. And then, of course, the guy who started the whole thing ends up rolling away clean.
Yeah, that's typically how it goes in iRacing, unfortunately. But man, that's quite a brutal impact there.
Joseph DuPont trying to run low, just got run into by everybody else. Tim Horton's car just drops down in front of him. There was nowhere he could go.
Right. All you can really do there is lift, which I know it looks like he lifted, but a little late in my opinion. I think you can avoid that if you lift right when you see the guy get loose, right? Worst case scenario, you lose a lot of time, but you're on lap 6 of a 95-lap race at an oval with high tire wear, so you know there's going to be a lot of cautions. You're going to make that time back up. It's best to just lift off the throttle, find your way through like Lightning McQueen, and you'll make it back to that pack eventually.
So you said like Lightning McQueen, Will. A quick question, since you work on these cars professionally, can the suspension handle literally jumping off the ground over another car?
I highly doubt that, given my several attempts this past week at Bathurst in iRacing.
Oh, man.
But in real life, no, I don't think so, unfortunately. And I hope we never find a true answer to that. But I believe, I don't know what year it was. I want to say 2018. Spencer Piggott jumped a curb in the infield of the IMS road course, ended up landing it. So that was pretty sweet. If you guys want to look that one up, that's a fun video to watch. But no, I don't think a big jump. I don't think you can stick it.
Yeah, you said on Bathurst, forest elbow. Pff, please, more like I send it through the forest.
Exactly.
All right, but yeah, there's not going to be any takers here in terms of in terms of pits here. The tires haven't degraded enough to need it, and we're still on a 55 to 60 or 54 to 65 lap window in terms of fuel. And depending on how many cautions we get in this first half of the race, I expect that to be most likely on the 65 range.
Yeah, it's probably going to be towards the latter half of that window. There's, and I'm assuming we're going to have a couple more cautions before we get to that point. That's just how it typically is. And in iRacing with these Indy cars, especially at tracks with high tire deg, they really like to get loose and snap out on you. So it's really tough to learn how to manage a car, especially in the early stages of the race. And not to mention, again, it's a night race. We're under the lights. The track temp is colder. The tires take a little longer to warm up. But we're restarting here. To interrupt myself, Andrew Sherwick leads the field to green. Tanner Long close behind.
Big jump by Andrew, too. It looks like right behind him, Jake Jackson and James Williamson get a fight for that third spot. Jake Jackson on the outside, excuse me. James Williamson trying to make something happen on that bottom line, but the tires are probably still a little bit cold. It's going to be hard to get a lot of grip down there. He is, unfortunately, not able to stick with Jake Jackson immediately, but he just has to keep him in sight, stay in that tow. And we said it's not that big of a deal at short tracks, but it does still do something, especially down these straights. Look at that run that he's getting.
We've got someone going real slow there through turn 3.
And there's the
caution.
Not
quite sure who that is, but the caution is flying.
I saw someone in the outside wall there. I don't know who it was. Liam Mcneil, I believe. Yep.
And is he one of our new guys in the series, I believe?
I believe he is. I don't think I've seen him before, but not a great debut race for him, unfortunately. And yeah, this is actually after he wrecked. It looks like, if I had to guess, probably just coming out of like coming out of 2, he just got it way too hard and just didn't get off the gas in time going into 3 and 4.
Well, you know what they say. We say it almost every time, but cautions breed cautions. You got cold tires, cold track, everybody close together in a pack. I did not mean to rhyme. I'm not a poet. But I guess since we say it every week, we all already know that this is kind of how it goes. I had to avoid saying you already know it, because then that would have just been too good of a rhyme. I don't think anybody could handle that.
So you're saying you're a poet and didn't know it?
I guess that might be the case, but
our production is telling me to shut up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he was definitely talking to you, not both of us. So I'm going to let you take the blame on that one. And then if you want to, file an incident report at the conclusion of this race. But for now, it's on you.
I'm protesting. Quick word here as we have our second caution of the day, just 12 laps in. Please check out our friends at gridfinder.com. That is grid-finder.com. And they are sponsoring the ARC Indycar series on iRacing here for this season. And they're the only league search tool on the internet that is tailored to the exact results that you want. Far better of a search tool than the standard iRacing league finder. I use it myself. I find a lot of good leagues with it that I'm really interested in. And ARC, in fact, is an approved grid finder league, and you find over 1,000 other leagues featured on their site, both approved and unapproved. But those approved ones are where you want to be, because they are tailor-made to be the best experience. So once again, that is grid-finder.com. Check them out.
Yeah, definitely check them out. They've got a great user interface on their website where you can go through a bunch of filters to find the perfect league for you. So like Keegan said, go check out our friends over at gridfinder.com. You got to get yourself into some league racing, man. That's what I realized the last couple months. I'm still fairly new to iRacing. I've had it for about a year come this May. Never really got into leagues until the last couple months, but it's just been awesome.
Yeah, I'm having a blast with a couple of leagues I'm involved in, especially street stocks on short tracks. That is awful but fun at the same time. It's a complete abomination to everything racing, but I freaking love it. Just like the Formula V.
Man, I got enough of the Formula V when I was in rookies back in road. That was like right when that car came out, but it was pretty enjoyable. It's a tough car to drive, though. I think a lot of people overlook that fact, but those rookie cars sure do make you work for it and learn the fundamentals.
Yeah, honestly, and the Formula V even more than the Mazda, in my opinion. Mazda,
Right.
it's not hard to drive. Honestly, it's a bit slippy, but it's not hard to drive. The Formula V though, you downshift a second at the wrong time, you're going right around.
Yup. You almost don't want to shift in the thing. Unlike these cars, when you're going into a heavy braking zone on a road course, you're just mashing that downshift paddle and just like blowing through as many gears as you can to try and get the car to slow down. It's pretty incredible how there's that big of a gap in technology between different race cars. I know it's fairly obvious, but when you really sit down and think about it, these things are very technologically advanced, especially for a spec series. I know a lot of people like to compare it to F1, where you got whole R&D teams designing a new car every year, the newest, best, greatest technology. But for a spec series, these Indy cars, they are definitely no slouch.
Don't get me wrong, I love F1, but I also hate F1. Like, the very thing that makes me love F1 is the very thing that makes me dislike IndyCar, but the very thing I love about IndyCar is the very thing that makes me dislike F1. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, I guess.
Yeah, that is for sure. But one of my favorite things that IndyCar has over F1 is restarts. And we're about to go green again here with Andrew Serwick leading the field into lap 16 here at Phoenix.
Careful.
Let's see if he can get a jump. That Bitcoin car, his stock is rising tonight. He's right on the attenuator of Serwick in the number 1, trying to get a jump here.
And here he goes out of turn 4. Serwick, that's a big start, but Tanner Long's actually not doing too bad to keep up with him. That's a better start for Tanner than he's had in the past couple laps. And already we see Jake Jackson and James Williamson going at it again. Jake's right on his gearbox on the inside line. They're managing to hold it together so far, and Jake's going to get a run up the inside going into 3. He will outbrake him, but is he going to be able to get the best run off of 4? No. Jake Jackson will stay in the 3rd place spot, and here comes DuPont right behind him.
DuPont obviously following close behind, trying to get a lap back here after his early incident. Sorry, David McCourt. Right, yeah, David McCourt right there. David McCourt around the outside of James Williamson.
Whoa.
And we've got somebody else in the wall. Is that Mcneil?
Yeah, I think that was Liam Mcneil, and he's already used both of his fast repairs. So, if yeah, he's gonna have to take the long repair on this one. But we stay green.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, with a small track like this, to be off the racing line in an incident and not have a caution thrown, that's a very rare sight to see.
You know, you said during that last caution about how F1 doesn't have restarts. I think Lewis Hamilton is already on his way to your house.
Yeah, you know, I'm talking more about consistent restarts and restarts on ovals. Ovals are just, they're so awesome. And yeah, Lewis Hamilton, come on over. I'll give you a therapy session. We didn't miss you on social media, but glad you're back. I'm just joking. Hey, listen. I'm your average F1 fan, all right? I obviously love IndyCar very much, and I'm heavily biased towards it. Nothing against Lewis Hamilton. Respect to him for his championships, but awesome to see somebody else win. Just got to defend myself and throw that out there.
They both would have deserved that title no matter what.
I think both of them didn't deserve it.
You're not
with
wrong.
how they raced each other all season, even though I was pulling for Max the whole year.
You're not wrong. But you know who definitely does deserve a title? David McCourt, who over the last 5 to 10 laps has already made up 3 spots. He is marching his way through the field, and just like that, we get a caution. He's going to restart right behind Andrew Serwick, and this is an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, these are the 2 guys at the top of the championship point standings. We do have a drop week here, but Andrew is doing his best to fight. Here's the replay. We got Mark Feeney in the 73 car sending it around the outside of, I believe, Daniel Taskey, and they touch Mark Feeney into the wall. Hits both wings off there.
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to see this from Daniel Taskey's perspective. I'm not sure if he moved up into that. Yeah, so Daniel Taskey, he got a bit of a clip off the wall coming out of 2, and yeah, he just marched up the track and ran him off. That's so unfortunate.
It's really unfortunate for Mark Feeney there, and And the thing is, when you see a guy in front of you pop the wall like that on an oval, yeah, he dips inside and he gets back up because he maintains pace, but you know he's got damage, right? Again, this is a long race. It's 95 laps. You're on a cold track. People are prone to spinning and making mistakes. You got to back off when you see everything. Like, you know yellows are going to fly all night. And I know these guys are trying their hardest to gain as many positions as they can. And you see it in Indy Fixed. You see it in all the official races. You see it in every league. But if people would back off and realize, hey, I'm going to get that time back anyways. But when you get bopped into the wall and you have to pit, it's a full wash and you lose that time. So very avoidable. I understand we're racing, right? Like, it's called a motor race. And people want to gain that time. But you got to make it to the end. These IndyCar races on ovals are races of attrition. So unfortunate for Mark Feeney. We know he'll get back up there at some point, though.
Yeah, and I mean, he didn't have to take. He is actually on the lead lap, by the way. He did not have to take a tow back to the pits, so he was able to drive in, get his quick repair done, and get out of the pits before the pace car passed him over. So, yeah, that's a big win for Mark.
Yeah, I mean, when you got fast repairs in some series, definitely you can afford to make a mistake or two like that, right? And he's still going to hurt from it a little bit. I don't know what position he was running in when the incident happened, but now he's only back in P10. Not that bad. There are still 70 laps to go. Well, 69 laps now. Nice to go in this race. So Mark Feeney's got plenty of chance to get back up there.
And I believe, are we lights out on the pace car at this point? Production, if you could let us know. No, we're not lights out on the pace car yet, so we will have 2 more caution laps here. So, Will, when we're discussing about, like, in terms of fuel window, in terms of pit windows, so these early cautions, how many do you think we have to see before you start thinking, oh, can I save to go the whole way?
Oh, man. I haven't given that any thought, but it is a possibility. Surely if you want to try and pull that off, though, you do not want to be in the lead of this race and burning more fuel, right? So I think if that's running through, I guess, this league strategy master David McCourt's mind, then he's got himself in the perfect position because he knows Andrew is quick. You know David is good at managing the tires, managing that understeer and the aero wash. Definitely something he could pull off. We might see it, but I don't know if he's willing to risk it.
I'm going to be honest. I think the person in this field who has the best chance of being able to do that is Tanner Long. He's been sitting there in second the whole time. David McCourt's been having to use a bunch of fuel to get up through the field, which he's been marching up through the field like crazy, but he's the only, he definitely doesn't really have a good chance of doing that. Tanner, if he's really fuel conservative about it, he might be able to do it depending on how many cautions we have. At that point, it becomes a huge gamble and isn't really worth it.
Right, but at the same time, how much more fuel are you burning just from popping out of the draft for a split second while you pull out on someone in the slingshot? I mean, probably not a ton more, and now he's not going to have much more passing left to do, and that's David McCourt. But I think both McCourt and Long are in a great position, and I would say the same for Williamson and Jackson. I mean, it's the same guys we see consistently up front here on the ovals, and all of them are leading the pack again to green here. Lap 28 of 95 at Phoenix. Serwick again pulling away by a little over 4/10.
Ooh, James Williamson on the inside of Tanner Long. He's looking for that P3. He's been looking for it the entire day. Tanner Long is able to hold it off, though, and here we go. Another battle between James Williamson and Jake Jackson in the back. David McCourt catching up to P1 as well. We're going to have to keep an eye on both of these as we kind of passively go through the race. And this is a big battle here. This is also a battle for potentially championship implications here, as we have Andrew and David are the ones who are battling it out for the championship at the end of the season right now. Top 2. Andrew's typically the oval god, but you know what? If David can come up and get a win here, that would be huge for him.
Yeah, that would pretty much seal the deal for David McCourt. He's only missed one race. He's pretty much capitalized in every other one, and the one he raced was due to a hardware issue. So David McCourt, pretty good position here. What I do want to ask, totally changing the subject, so I apologize, but while we've got a tight bunched up field here, as we see our closest gap right now is James Williamson right behind Tanner Long. If we could get that gearbox rear view behind Tanner Long so we can kind of show you how big that dirty air is, that would be awesome. But maybe head to a different battle now, because James Williamson gets Tanner Long on the inside. Again, BTC falling a little bit tonight.
No, Bitcoin's been doing nothing but falling. Sir Tanner Bitcoin falls to 4th. He's actually, it looks like he's having a bit of a hard time staying on that bottom line right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting quite a bit of understeer. I don't know if that's because he's pushing the throttle too deep into the corners, or maybe something with his driver tools, his anti-roll bars or his weight jacker. Maybe he hasn't made too many fine adjustments as the stint has gone on and those tires have worn down a little bit and the car wants to start to push. Hopefully he figures that out soon. We know he's quick. We know he knows how to use those tools, right? It's all just a matter of time before he figures it out and tries to jump back at the 84 car of James Williamson.
You might be able to get him through 1 and 2 here. Oh, sorry, 3 and 4. Excuse me. I'm used to Legacy Phoenix.
Say, that's why I'm not calling out corner numbers, because I've got no idea right now. I'm lost. But you see Tanner Long, it looks like this corner he backed off a little bit, but it looked like the lap prior he was getting a little bit impatient, pushing that throttle a little too deep into the corners, and with pushing it deeper, getting that dirty air from the car in front, he's just losing time there, right? The main thing when you're in dirty air is trying to get a good run out of the corner, because if you get a good run out of the corner and pick up the draft, you'll get a long tow down the straightaway. Even though these straightaways aren't as long as some of the other tracks we've raced, it surely helps, at least on the Legacy version. But that's the only experience I can speak from.
Suppose you could say these straightaways are Tanner long?
I guess we only have one straightaway. and I totally missed that because, wow. I got to give you props for that one. I feel like week to week now, and this is the first week we've gotten to commentate together, I believe, since before my race at Laguna. But it's almost like every time you and I share the booth, we're just competing to see who can have the worst joke.
The worst, yeah, the absolute worst dad joke possible.
I don't even know if I'd call them dad jokes. They're not mature enough to be dad jokes.
They're just bad.
They're just terrible. But I love it. I love it. It keeps it entertaining for us. So hopefully you guys watching on the broadcast enjoy it too. I know you may not be laughing with us, but you can laugh at us too. We're all right with that. We do it all the time. So stick around. You'll get a few more as you see the 007 of Cody Barrett spying on Jake Jackson ahead.
Damon Mccourt and Andrew catching up on Liam Mcneil here, who's been struggling all night, one of our newcomers. And oh my goodness, David almost gets caught up by him. He has to go around him on the outside. And now he's going to have a bit of a gap to make up to Andrew. Andrew gapped him by about half a second, so the ball is entirely in David McCourt here.
I can't, man. I can't. That hit me totally blindsided. Wow. Yeah, you gotta take the next little bit. I gotta recover from that.
All right, fair. Our production guy is dying behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know how you pulled that off, man. I really don't. That was awesome. But David McCourt is hunting down Andrew Surwick. He's closing that gap pretty quickly. I'm sure Surwick is trying to maybe make up a tiny bit of that fuel consumption now as we get a little closer towards the end of the first stint. Still not quite there for that pit window to open, but probably saving tires so he doesn't burn them up too much because he knows he's going to be in a dogfight with Dominator David here in a minute.
Everyone's kind of settled into a good rhythm here. For anyone wondering about, I had the odds on over-under for longest green flag stint here at 15.5, and the overs are actually going to take it. We've had a 21-lap green flag stint, and that's been huge for David as he's had a really good opportunity to hunt down Andrew. He is breathing down his gearbox.
Yeah, I mean, he's right there. You just see how much the car does not want to steer when he's right behind him, though. Backing off early, turns in a little bit earlier to stay out of that turbulent air that Andrew Surwick is feeding off behind him. to get that run down the back stretch. Pushes it a little deep there, but you'll see him just catch up right away. I mean, David McCourt. Oh, and we've got a yellow. I think that's Liam Mcneil again.
Yeah, that's Liam Mcneil. So unfortunate. He's definitely not having a good debut here. But good on him for staying out on track and keeping it moving. Oh, Craig Bray also involved in that. Not sure where he got into it.
That answers your question on the jumping.
Yeah, Liam Mcneil got into Craig Bray, and fortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles here.
Oh, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
There's no need to make a move like that when you're 12 laps down.
No. And cue the Arca Break Weekly music for the cone. Rest in peace. So I don't know if he was really trying to make a move here, if he was just trying to stay out of everyone's way. He wasn't on the inside. No.
Yeah, I mean, that's questionable.
No, that one. Yeah, so he was just on the inside of the dog leg, and it kind of looked like he just got turned into.
And Andrew Serwick pitting. James Williamson follows, so David McCourt is going to stay out behind the pace car here. I don't see why he would pit a lap later under caution. So David McCourt will be our leader on this restart.
Yeah, he's gonna go for the undercut here. Andrew definitely trying the undercut, and if David can get another caution here in quick succession, he's gonna be in a really good spot, because the entire race is out of the question at this point. We have run too many laps under green, but it doesn't change the fact that we run enough under green that he might be able to extend that 65 lap range to potentially 70.
I am telling you right now, my bet is in. I am all in on David McCourt, and I'll tell you why. I know it's not just because his name is David McCourt and he's dominated this entire season. It is lap 49 of 95. Everyone who pits now is stretching it to the end, planning on getting the similar fuel consumption they have in the first half of this race. David McCourt staying out in the lead. Yes, he's on older tires. No, he's not in the back. He'll pit later, be on fresher tires at the end of this race. It's going to take a lot from Andrew Serwick, James Williamson, Cody Barrett, and Jake Jackson to make a move on David McCourt later in this race. I think he's your winner.
Well, here's something interesting, too. David McCourt is actually separated from Andrew by several seconds and 4 cars actually, that are all a lap down.
Well, will they do the F1 finale and wave him by?
No, Mikey. Well, folks, while we are getting ready to go for this, for another restart here, as I believe we'll have one more lap to go coming around this time, we're going to tell you about Europe's largest racing school that has entered the sim racing market. We are sponsored by Driver61. You can go to driver61.com and use our discount code for 25% off their services. That is ARC Driver61. That is the code, ARC Driver61, no spaces, for 25% off all their services. And, Will, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to use them for the Bathurst this weekend, because you are absolutely murdering me in terms of race-based lap times.
Well, I told you I'd help you too, so I'm going to try and do that. I think I'm making a last-minute change in car selection tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But those lapped cars will not get a wave around, and David McCourt will lead the field to green here with Andrew Serwick, I believe, 5 cars back.
This is actually a bit of a dangerous position because he has Liam Mcneil close behind him, and Liam has not exactly been the best on the restarts tonight, or the best at any point. Kind of a bit of a hazard for some people, so I don't know if he's going to interfere with this restart, but David McCourt coming out of 4 here. He's going to get a big jump, and he's going to have a huge distance on Andrew Serwick, who actually is falling back to the field already. Lost 2 spots to James Williamson and Cody Barrett. Another one to Jake Jackson. What's going on with Andrew Serwick?
Oh, man, he must have a lot of damage, but you see those guys stretching it around the outside. This is the diciest restart we've had yet, but Surwick gets right behind Oliva to get a run. Oliva has to back off as two trailer park boys go around the outside, as Marshall Mathers would say. Andrew Surwick doing his best to gain those positions back. Liam Mcneil staying high, trying to not cause any more trouble for these drivers up here fighting to get back into the lead pack.
Andrew Surwick just got boxed in on that restart. There was nothing he could do. Tanner Long fell back with him, so now James Williamson, Cody Barrett, Jake Jackson, and Eric Oliva round out the top 5. David McCourt running away with this race, and it's all on Andrew now to churn back up through the field to catch back up with him with 40 laps to go.
Yeah, and 40 is a lot in the grand scheme of things with the number of cautions we've had, but I'm sure some of these drivers will start to settle in a little bit more now. They're starting to get the car under their feet, understand what's happening in these colder temperatures. It's not typical to run night races in this car, at least not anymore, unfortunately. In fact, in the IndyCar series this year, 2022, there's not a single night race on the schedule in real life, which is really unfortunate. These cars look awesome under the lights.
Not even a gateway, really.
I think it's like a 5 or 6 p.m. start.
I mean,
it's not a night race. It's an evening race.
Depending on the time zone, there could be a race.
It's Central Time, but on the most
or sorry,
part of
time of year.
Time.
Time of year. I don't know. So he is trying to push back up through the field here, but Eric Oliva is just blocking him off at every possible opportunity to get that spot back. Eric wants to stay in that top 5. Andrew trying to get around him, but this is just giving so much to David McCourt up front.
Yeah, but Andrew's going to have a run here. Trying to stick that outside line in the third groove. He's got a huge run on him, and you see him just dive to the inside. Oh, they get real tight. Pulls off the pass, though.
Yeah, and we have another caution. This is going to give an opportunity for Andrew to get back up front. And I believe, who was that?
That's Brock Whiteman.
Yeah, Brock Whiteman. Oh, catches another one as well. Was that a bit of netcode damage, or was it actual damage? I don't know who he hit.
It looks like he put it in reverse, and I want to say he hit Craig Bray again. I believe Craig Bray's in that Canada car, right?
I mean, I'm not entirely sure, honestly.
I mean, he definitely put it in reverse and backed it up with cars coming behind. So you don't love to see that. I'm sure that one will end up in the incident report. You see, he puts it in reverse, trying to turn it around. Does it again. Just unfortunate. He just clips him in. Yeah, it is Craig Bray. So unfortunate night for him as he's involved in another incident. That one completely avoidable. Not necessarily on his part.
I think he's okay.
I hope so, man. But
it looked like
now you see the leader come in.
Yeah. Now David McCourt enters the pits, but that was a huge loss for Andrew Surwick on that stint. He just got backed up through the field. David McCourt not going to have a bad time getting through the rest of this, as we saw him cutting through the field earlier.
Yeah, and now I'm starting to rethink my little pep talk / rant earlier, because now David McCourt is going to be behind all of these guys and is going to have to chase Andrew Surwick back down. And I know there are other leaders up there besides these two we're talking about, but again, these guys are the ones battling for that championship. They want the outright points lead in the championship. This means a lot to them. They're two of the guys that run this league, and I know it means a lot to them, and they love it here. So they're both very competitive. It's friendly, I promise, but they definitely don't want to be seeing the rear wing of the other guy.
Definitely not. James Williamson and Cody Barrett, as well as Jake Jackson and Eric Oliva, they're all just kind of fighting for a win here. They're not really in the championship conversation at this point, so they just want to get a win if they can in the last part of this season. Because after this, we only have 2 more races to go, and those are Road Atlanta and Pocono International. Pocono, I'm kind of looking forward to that finale.
Wow, is that a spaceship?
What happened to Brock?
Oh, he's good now. He went from Star Wars back to real life, but Brock Whiteman will be back out on track as the first car a lap behind.
Shame there's no lucky dog.
But there is a dog leg. We know that.
Ah, lucky dog leg. Yes.
Not so lucky. We've seen a lot of incidents there tonight.
Unlucky dog leg. Yes.
Unlucky dog leg. It's like most dog legs that go to the left if you're a golfer and you like to fade the ball like me. Some people may not be able to relate to that, but it's one of the most frustrating things in the world, and so is getting taken out in the dog leg here at Phoenix, especially when you're running up front. But a lot of these guys have managed to make their way back into this race, into the fight. 32 laps to go. The lights are out on the pace car as well. James Williamson, the late night grinder, out in. We always question, is he in the UK or Ireland? I always forget, but it's about. Okay, he's in England. Sorry, production. James Williamson in England. It's 3 or 4 a.m. I'm not doing quick maths right now. His time. This dude, 2:45 according to production. He really wants to win, man. Like, he's always up there. A lot of these guys that you see up front right now are always up there, and stuff just doesn't always work out in their favor. But hopefully we might see something different tonight.
James Williamson will be the one to lead them back to green once we come around. I believe the caution was extended for a total of a lap. Lights should be going out on the pace car this time around. Andrew Surowitz still pretty far back in the field in 4th. David McCourt in 7th. We're going to highlight these two a little bit more, folks, because they're the ones currently fighting for that championship spot. And we have several cars going around the outside, getting a wave around potentially.
We'll see if it happens this time. Daniel Taskey down to the apron for fun, I guess. See, I get so confused on where the pits are in this track configuration because I'm not used to it. I don't know why you would pit there anyways, but you never know if that's why the lights came back on, if someone had contact, right? So,
yeah. Lights are not out on the pace car either. I'm wondering if there was a bit of a technical hiccup or potentially an incident that needed to be corrected or something like that, where the stewards extended the caution phase. But it looks like everyone has rejoined the field now. I don't see anybody else out on track. They are all in a line, so hopefully we'll be getting the one to go this time by. Oh, never mind. Apparently I was wrong. Joseph DuPont still tooling it around.
Well, that means we've got one to go at the line here now. As you see, the lights are out on the pace car. DuPont will catch the back of the field before we go green again. Some guys, you got to be real sneaky, though. Some guys like to time it just right so they have a huge run coming out of that final corner and just totally train the field. But it doesn't look like DuPont will be doing that. He just wants to get back up there, settle into the draft on this restart, and try and make a few positions up, as he is, I believe, 2 laps down.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it does look like he's 2 laps down, at least according to our scoring.
So nobody is 1 lap back. Everybody that is lapped is 2 laps down or greater.
Yeah. Interesting little tidbit. That means if the entire front of the field wrecks out, they'll be in the lead still, I guess. Yeah, actually, that is how it would work out, yeah. Coming back around to the green flag here, James Williamson's going to lead him off, and he gets a good jump going through the dog leg. Big jump over Cody Barrett, too. Half a second out already going into turns 1 and 2. We are racing at Phoenix Raceway once again. Andrew already breathing down the neck of Jake Jackson for that P3. He got a good restart. Might look for the bottom here. No, he's going to let it go for another turn.
Andrew Surwick really looking for something on Jake Jackson. He's going to get him inside here. No, and he does not.
Not a good enough run.
He'll have a run.
Looking for the outside this time. Through 3 and 4. Can't quite get by him again that time. He needs to really take his time and set this up. The longer he takes to get by Jake Jackson, the more David McCourt catches him. David McCourt, he didn't have a great restart, but he's once again up on the back of Daniel Taskey.
Yeah, he's really pushing it back there. I'm sure these guys are both in similar situations, feeling the same way, getting very impatient, also trying to save tires a little bit because they know they're going to have to duke it out with one another at some point in the final laps of this race. But Andrew Serwick just trying something different every lap to see if he can make it work, which I really do like. That's something you got to take into account on ovals. It's like anything in life. You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So Andrew Serwick looks like he's favoring the high side the last few laps here, but looks like, oh, and he looks to the inside now. Jake Jackson sticks it a little wide. Serwick might have a bit of a run down the backstretch.
See, that's just it.
He's getting at the backstretch.
Like he's getting runs, but he's not getting good enough runs to get by him.
Right, and again, I think you can attribute that some to just being on the throttle a little too deep in the corner. You got to be off it early so you can get on it early and get a better run out.
Going through the dog leg, he had the lead, almost makes contact with Jake Jackson going into 3. He was on it a little bit too deep there. Oh, barely avoids the gearbox 2 coming out of 4. But Jake Jackson has been doing well to defend his position.
Definitely doing a great job, and so is our leader, James Williamson. He's kept Cody Barrett over half a second behind throughout this entire restart here. That pizza car can't make up much time on the beautiful Marlboro car of James Williamson. And you see he closes the gap down a little bit, but it's just so tough here when the straights are so short. The corners are so tight. Luckily, we can run multiple lines, but Andrew Serwick finally pulls off the pass on Jake Jackson, and Jackson is going to look to take that back. We see somebody, it's David Mccourt into the wall.
David Mccourt, he knocked out his front right. Oh no, that was just netcode incident, so never mind. David Mccourt will keep on running. Thank you, iRacing.
Why? Because iRacing.
Because iRacing. Cue the alien guy meme and just says iRacing.
At least it's not like Indy. It's not so much eye-pacing tonight.
Yeah, honestly, we've had a few cautions, but definitely less than I was expecting. It's been mostly clean, just as I say that. And it's Liam Mcneil again into the inside wall.
Man, Liam Mcneil really being the shaker of strategy tonight. I know we may not be necessarily talking about pit strategy, but just tire strategy on track. When to conserve those tires. They're going through multiple heat cycles now, so these restarts keep getting a little bit high, and Liam Mcneil just tight again into the wall. The wall is not his friend. Now, was that light blue on his livery before the race, or?
Well, I mean, the light blue isn't on his livery anymore. It fell off his car.
We apologize. He's a newcomer to the league. It's beginner's luck. I've had the same experiences. It's kind of something you got to do to cope with it, I guess.
It's all right, Liam. Take your lumps and take your copium.
At least it's not real life.
Is this the real life or is this fantasy?
Stop. Oh, man.
So we have a little bit under 20 laps to go. We're probably going to have about 15 when we come back around to the green flag. This is going to be a big shootout, and honestly, that poor restart for Andrew Serwick might come back to bite him here, as pretty much everyone is... He's going to have to go through 2 cars to get up to that P1. David McCourt is still rolling off P6.
Right, but their championship battle is not so much head-to-head. Andrew Serwick needs to beat David McCourt. It's Andrew Serwick needs to win races, and David McCourt needs to finish outside of that top 5. That way Serwick can get a huge jump in points on him and try and make that comeback. It's going to be real tough, but definitely possible. If the race were to finish right now, he'd make quite a big jump.
So then you consider the fact that David McCourt has won all of the road courses this season, except for one, which was Coda, where he came in second to Joseph DuPont, who's really had a bit of an unlucky season. He's had a bunch of crash outs and stuff like that weren't any of his fault. So rip to David or to Joseph DuPont, he'd probably be a lot more competitive at this point. So when you consider that, and he probably has a pretty good shot to win at Road Atlanta, getting a really good finish here and maybe just finishing just behind Andrew, or even if he can get in front of him, that'll pretty much, like you said, seal the deal. Andrew just needs to not let that happen.
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, that points gap has closed down a lot more than I thought. David McCourt is sitting in P1 in the championship standings with 332 points before dropping his race that he did not make at Michigan, which Serwick actually won. Serwick is close behind at 318 total points, his worst finish only being 13th, so that'll get dropped as well. That championship race is actually a lot tighter than I thought it was. So Andrew Serwick really needs to make something happen here.
Apparently there's nobody in our championship, according to production, our championship standings. Production value, everybody.
You know what I'm noticing? We each ran one race. I have 32 championship points, and I don't see you on this list.
I'm down in 33rd.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I have 19 championship points because I got taken out on lap 1.
Did you get taken out as you were leading the race?
No, unfortunately.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. We do need to race sometime together, though. We've never gone head-to-head.
I mean, we're trying to work something out for a team race, but going head-to-head would be pretty cool at some point, too. Sadly, that would only leave Nick in the booth, and I'm sure he wouldn't like that too much. James Williamson, though, going to lead everybody back out to the green flag. Cody Barrett already getting threatened by Andrew Serwick, who is breathing down his neck, and the rest of the field will line up single file from there.
Andrew Serwick real hungry to get past that pizza car. He probably is not too satisfied with his delivery speed, but Andrew Serwick trying to make that position back, again heading into the toe, gonna figure out what he can make work through these corners as he has to navigate towards the front, get away from that red 55 car of David McCourt, but we've got another caution.
Oh,
man, I was on a roll there.
Yeah, you were.
Caution.
You're on a good roll with those puns too. You could say it's a pizza roll.
Wow. Wow. That was awesome.
Oh my god, this is just a horrible pun night for everybody, isn't it? Cautions again. Cautions breeding cautions. Liam Mcneil. Oh no.
Liam Mcneil's breeding Liam Mcneil's. Another loose corner for Liam Mcneil into the outside wall.
It's all right, buddy. Stick with it. We poke and prod and make jokes, but honestly, it's great to see you out there still trying, and it's great to see you still putting the laps in and getting the practice in. Keep trying, buddy. I was talking to you earlier this week. Keep at it.
Especially if you're new to this car, it's just so tough to get a hold of.
Yeah,
like I know I struggled at first, even like racing Indy cars and other games, even though there's like 2 and the Indy cars in those games are terrible, but it's just like so tough to get your foot on it and understand how that car wants to work, especially if you're new to learning just general IndyCar knowledge and dirty air, kind of how the tires fall off after a while, and they fall off pretty rapidly too. It's not like it's a really slow thing. It seems slow at first, and then they just totally drop and you're done. And especially when you're getting big spins like that, if you're not changing your tires, it's just going to breed it more and more. So those things are definitely something you'll learn as you go on. And you got a lot quicker, especially running these ovals. Like I feel like the learning curve is pretty solid on them. As long as you give people space and you learn what you can do to make the car stick and make passes, it's actually a pretty fun time.
Yeah. Speaking of the tires, can we please see when the most recent pit stops were for our top 10 here? As I am pretty sure, yep, freshest tires in that top 8 is David McCourt. Well, okay, so Tanner Long technically has fresher, but David McCourt has 12 laps fresher tires than everybody in front of him. And that's going to play a factor in this last 8 or 9 lap shootout that it looks like we're going to be having for the rest of this race. If he can carve his way up through the field like we saw him do earlier, he can really make a run for that lead, I think.
Yeah, I do too. It looks like it's been tough to pass here lately, and I think that is attributed to tire fall off. So him being on fresher tires, he's made up a couple spots here recently. So if he can keep that momentum going, he will be up there on the gearbox of that Gatorade car.
And we will probably be coming to the 1 to go this time by. We're going to be restarting on lap 87, so 9-lap shootout for the checkered flag. James Williamson's going to be the one to lead him off with Cody Barrett in second. Both of those guys have had a very great race. Andrew Serwick, our second place in the championship standings right now, looking to get up to the front. He's rolling off in third. Jake Jackson will be rolling off in fourth. Eric Oliva in fifth. David McCourt back in sixth, our current championship leader. Daniel Taskey in seventh, and Tanner Long rolling off in eighth. That is our lead lap cars. All of them rolling off in the front with no lapped cars in between.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have a shootout to the end here. Hopefully, we can stay green for these final laps. Again, as James Williamson will lead this field with the pizza car of Cody Barrett close behind. Andrew Serwick, though, not going to be patient here. I can guarantee you that. He wants as many points as he can scrounge up.
He's getting right up behind that pizza car of Cody Barrett, too. It'll be James Williamson to lead him out of 4 going into that dogleg. Just waiting to go for it. He's trying to get a jump, but he's going to have to react to James Williamson. Well, that's not a great reaction. James Williamson gets out to a big lead, and Cody Barrett, he actually gets a big jump on Andrew Serwick, too, who is now being threatened by Jake Jackson behind him.
Yeah, you get those big jumps there and they help, right? But when you got somebody close behind you because they got a big jump, they're getting a lot more dirty air. As you see, Jake Jackson falling off quite a bit now and Cody Barrett catching James Williamson. So it's a bit of a trade-off. You get that big jump on that stretch there as the flag flies green, but then you instantly lose that time back in the corner because you're so close to the car in front. Wow! Aggressive move from Eric Levy. He goes outside. I think he taps the wall, but it looks like he's okay.
He's the one right in front of David McCourt, so David McCourt just trying to not run into the back of him at this point. Kind of being blocked off a little bit, too. He might look for something cheeky around both of these guys at the same time if he gets in the right spot to do it.
Yeah, give it a lap or two, and I think he will be there. You see, he follows him right behind. He just gets so high out towards the wall, has to lift, and Oliva all over the place, trying to avoid contact. Gets right back in front of the nose of David McCourt. Down and touches the apron. I'm sure that made McCourt a little scared. Trying to squeeze it on the high side.
They both drive it deep into turn 3, but David McCourt's going to be able to go back around the outside. Eric Oliva loses 2 spots as a result of that, as he was really loose coming out of 4 through the dogleg. And that's going to be another caution to lap 91, and Liam Mcneil. Oh, man.
I feel for him.
Yeah. Same.
And also these other drivers who are battling up front to try and make something happen, and they can't get a really great green flag run.
If we do have a restart, it's going to be with 1 to go.
We're going to get a green-white checker? Oh, baby. At Phoenix? Is this NASCAR?
No, it wouldn't be a green-white checkered. It would be green with 1 to go. A 1-lap shootout, probably.
Very true. But there's still white in the checkered flag, okay? I'm not entirely wrong.
At the same time, the leader, I guess, is black flagged?
Oh, that took me a minute.
Oh my!
I rate 2 out of 10.
Fair enough, I guess. We're just waiting for the laps to wind down here. We might get the 1 to go this time by, depending on how race control feels about it. But if we don't, we'll get the one to go the next time by, and it'll be a one-lap shootout as everybody is in position.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Andrew Serwick here, do you try and make the big jump if you do get a green flag lap, or do you just make sure you keep your position? I don't know what I would do. I mean, when you're racing, it's real easy to say, hey, I'd make that jump. But when you have this caution right before the end to really think about it, is it worth sending something risky and putting your championship hopes totally on the line there?
Wait a minute. Lights aren't out on the pace car. Yeah, this is going to end under caution. And the finishing order will be as you see the running order right now, assuming no one runs out of gas, which they shouldn't. They all have plenty of fuel window to go. So the winner of this race will be James Williamson, with Cody Barrett in second and Andrew Serwick rounding out the podium. Damon Mccourt falls back to fifth after having a very strong car for the entirety of the race up until that last pit stop. Andrew Serwick might feel a little bit cheated out of that win too, as he had a really bad restart there. That just put him so far back. Yeah, I feel like everyone's got to be pretty bummed about this one. I mean, we did get a couple decent green flag runs, but I really didn't feel like, as a commentator watching, we really got a chance to go racing other than for a couple laps, couple close battles. But the amount of restarts kept cars so close and kept the dirty air so high that we saw a lot of these guys running single file. Some of them were able to figure out what worked and what didn't throughout those short green runs. But Andrew Serwick, I'm sure he's happy to get a podium here, but finishing only 2 spots ahead of David McCourt is not going to make up as big of a chunk in the championship point standings as he would have liked. Yeah, definitely not. But I believe that is actually going to be James Williamson's first. Oh no, this is actually his second. It's his second win. Did he win Indy season? Yeah, he's the one who won the Indy 250. So, and I believe that was originally, it wasn't a one-off, but it definitely wasn't. He's not consistent here at ARC, but he might be a little bit more consistent after pulling off 2 wins this season. He might try and go for more full time next season, and I do hope he does, as he seems to be very, very good on these ovals, and honestly on road courses. Looking at his results, he's not that bad either. Yeah, he's been up there almost every race, but he's always been collected in something disastrous, which is unfortunate to him. So even though that Indy race was a caution fest as well, he's got his second caution fest win here, and Bitcoin just totally crashed the market right there. You see Jake Jackson spinning out as well, Tasky all over the place. We're finished. And again, Williamson is your winner. I guess he likes to win these under yellow. Yeah, we're finished. I guess that's really the summary of, of what this race was. Unfortunately, a lot of cautions once again. Not as many as I was expecting. We got a couple really nice green flag stints in there, but just not able to come back was Andrew Serwick after a not-so-great restart in the court. The pit strategy didn't work out in his favor this time. It'll be James Williamson taking his second win of this Season 5 in the Apollo Racing Club Indycar iRacing Series. And Cody Barrett in second once again. We're going to see some donuts? Do they have those in England? I guess they do, especially at 3 a.m., baby. James Williamson celebrating there, and it looks like Brock Whiteman's celebrating with him as well. Burn it down, everybody. James Williamson, big win from England. And we're going to get some people in here for interviews. Our first interview is going to be with our third place on the podium, Andrew Serwick. Andrew, congrats on the podium, my man.
That was a tough one to swallow, but it is what it is.
I can imagine. So we had been elaborating on it a little bit. What happened during that restart where you fell way back?
I don't know. I was normally our lap cars, they just dive down right to the inside, let lead up cars by on these restarts, and nobody did that. So I got all stacked up and just everyone passed me. So it was frustrating and had to fight my way back, but ended up on the podium still, so I guess it's not too bad, but it is what it is, and we'll go on to next week.
Yeah, I know you really wanted to win this one here, especially trying to chomp back at David McCourt and make up some points in the standings, especially coming off the last oval you won at Michigan. I guess the only thing I really have to say is I can't imagine that's got to be tough to swallow. You looked like you were really struggling there for a bit to find out a way through the corner to make a pass on Eric Oliva in the 13 car. We saw you take the inside and then try and run the high side, and you finally got him on the inside. Did you feel much of a difference in kind of how the tires felt and the car felt grounded at that point in the stint, taking those different lines?
Yeah, I was just trying to find grip, really, just see where I can set him up, and eventually just got around him. But I was just mainly just trying to find grip, see where I could push harder, and see where I could make passes, and also just trying to see what line he was taking through the corner, and he was pretty consistent each time I was looking to make a move. So just trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, and a couple laps later got around him.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you did because he finished down there in P7th, so that got you your jump ahead of David McCourt, who struggled back there for a while, but he was just on fresher tires and able to make up those positions later in the race. So you head on to Road Atlanta next week, and you hope to do the same and beat out David McCourt by a couple positions to make up those points. So we wish you the best of luck, and again, congrats on your P3.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Lisi did make up a few points over David McCourt there to keep this championship battle close. But you know who came in second tonight and who isn't really particularly involved in the championship battle, but I'm sure will be happy with the P2 tonight? Cody Barrett. Congratulations, my man.
Super stoked.
I got one question only, and then Keegan can take the rest of this, but we have not gotten confirmation yet. Is your livery pizza?
It is not.
No!
Oh.
I feel like an idiot. What is it?
That livery is safety cones.
What?
It's safety It's all safety cones. I'm supposed to be very visible so no one can hit me. It has not worked out. The last
because you look like
getting hit
pizza.
from
People are
behind.
hungry, man. Great to see the safety cone pizza car in P2, though. So Keegan, take it away.
Yeah, Cody. So, like I said, you're not particularly involved in the championship battle here at this point. In fact, I don't think you're even on the stat sheet at any high point. No, you're currently 24th in the points and only joined us for Michigan and Watkins Glen, but you've been pretty solid for the races that you've been here. A P7, a P7, and a P2. Are you thinking about running more full-time next season?
Oh yeah. Next season is going to be full time. And I mean, it doesn't matter what track it is. I'm never going to be really the fastest guy out there. But just like today, I mean, I started towards the back, and this was 100% just about staying out of trouble. It was just continue to move forward. I don't think I made any passes on merit. Everything was a freebie.
Well, hey, it does seem to work out for you. And since you're running the 007 car, I'm going to make you do it. Give us the best Bond impression.
Oh, Jesus. On the spot, man. Oh, boy. I can't do an accent to save my life, but I will use the phrasing. I prefer my flags waved, not stirred.
I like
there we
it.
go. Sounds good. All right. Thank you very much, Cody Barrett. Go enjoy that podium place. Congratulations on the P2.
Thanks,
Enjoy
guys.
the
Will
late
do.
night pizza as well.
Late night pizza. That just leaves one more left. It is the man from England with a plan. It is James Williamson joining us from in the booth here after his big win at Phoenix International Raceway. And you know what, James? You know, when you show up, you show up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, when I won or got second at Laguna, I was like, I need to run a perfect season and like finish 1-2, 1-3. Get to Michigan, I'm in third, like with about 4 laps to go. Spin out, boom, 16th. Last week, stick it on pole, absolutely destroy my race on lap 1, and then it just went downhill from there. Today, I was just like, I'm gonna take it easy. I didn't expect to win, but I literally got the chance where MLG got stuck behind some lap cars. I took the inside, got the run. Mark Feeney luckily moved out of the way, and I got a clean run. At that point, I knew it was like, net P1 if I stayed where I was because David still had to pit. And from there, once you're in the front, it's easy. It was a lot easier to manage the race. Like I know it finished under caution. This is the thing. Every time I went, it's always under caution. But I felt I had enough in what I was doing to make sure, even if we finished under green, I was going to finish the job today.
Yeah, you kept pace on Barrett through every restart. You're managing to jump out to a lead of about half a second every time, and the dirty air was killing him. He seemed to get you a little bit on the straights, but then just still couldn't get close enough to make a move on you. And I agree with you. I appreciate both of your wins under caution, but I think you would have ran away with this one, especially at a track like Phoenix on cold tires. It's hard to make those passes. Could you tell us a little bit about how the tires felt late in the race or where you were at on fuel? Because you led for a while there, and I'm sure you had a little bit more fuel burn than you had expected.
The fuel was never a problem. When I pitted, I had enough even if we'd run the whole rest of the race green. And to be honest, at the end I wasn't even putting in fuel map 8. I was just leaving it 1 because when I was testing, like as the fuel burned off, the lap times went down. Right. In fact, I had my fastest lap the lap before the caution came out for the last time. And I was doing like 29.1, and it's like that was quite late in the run. The tires never really dropped off as well. Again from practice, it was always very consistent. So it wasn't like with Michigan where the tires did make quite a bit of difference towards the end. This one, I never felt like the tires were going to cause a problem. I just had to change ALB settings a little bit just to get a bit more tightness because I had a little moment in turn 1 and 2 when I was leading quite late, and that's when Cody got right close to me, and then luckily the caution came out. But apart from that, it never really felt like, oh, I'm on the edge here, oh, I need to be careful, and and it starts playing on your mind that you're going to spin out. It never felt like that. It was always in control, and the fuel was like never an issue, so I never had to think, oh, I maybe need to back out here. It was just all that was out the window. It was just hit the marks, keep the speed up, keep Cody half a second behind if possible, and just hope the dirty air would do enough, and luckily it did. And obviously with the caution at the end just made it a nice little procession at the end after some intense racing at times.
Kind of a cool down lap then.
Well, you said it yourself, in control, and you come away with the W, your second of the season, which not many can say. So again, congratulations on the win, and we know it's late there, so you sound pretty hyped. Good luck getting to bed tonight, but we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.
Hopefully, I'm actually going to start that day in Milan, so we'll see if I get back in time. So we'll see. Hopefully, I want to do that race because it's one of my favorite tracks.
All right. Well, we hope to see you there, James. Go enjoy the win and then go to sleep. Considering it's 3:14 in the morning for you.
It is indeed. Yeah, that is the plan. Literally, hit the hay right now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good night, my man.
You too. Thank you.
Well, Will, we were thinking that this championship was going to be pretty wide open, but at this point, it is completely dead heat. David Mccourt and Andrew Serwick only separated by 6 points at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible that Serwick was able to stick that out. I know he had talked about being disappointed and wanting to get up there. What's that?
Championship standings, once again, not working. Production value, everybody.
And I'm sure that makes up for Serwick's mood a little bit, seeing that he's that close behind. I know David Mccourt is just so good on road courses, and Road Atlanta will be his last chance to truly dominate, because I know Serwick loves Pocono and he'll be good there too. So these last 2 races, they're kind of a trade-off between these 2 top drivers at the top of our championship standings. It's going to be a tight one here in Apollo Racing Club iRacing IndyCar Series.
Yep. So, folks, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place, same channel, same bat channel, same whatever you want to talk about it. We're done at this point. Have a good week, everybody.